Hi guys, thanks for joining me on another one of my YouTube videos. This one we're going to talk about shading and value. Remember we made these value tornadoes where you took your pencils and you went very quickly from light to dark and you wanted to go gradually. This is that gradient scale. And I talked to you about numbering it from 1 to 9 underneath. And those 1, 2, 3s would have been your lightest tones. 4, 5, 6 are those medium tones, and 7, 8, 9s being your darkest tones. Today, when we talk about value, I want you to remember those numbers, and I want you to remember LMD for light, medium, and dark. Today, we're going to be shading our cubes, and as we do that, we're going to be thinking about how the light affects our objects. So, if we have a cube like this, and remember, these are those 6 cubes that you guys made. I have 6 cubes on my paper, and sorry, a little technical difficulty with my tripod. I have 6 cubes on my paper, and in these cubes, we are going to talk about how we're going to shade them now to make them even more three-dimensional. So we're going to put an arrow again like we did with our spheres, and that arrow is going to represent the direction that the light is coming from. Whichever direction that light is going to hit first, that's going to be your lightest side, and you're going to shade that somewhere between a 1 and a 3. The medium side is going to be what it hits second. So if this light's coming from here, it would hit this top before it got to this side of the cube. So the medium would be somewhere around a 4, 5, or 6. And the darkest side then would fall in the range of 7, 8, or 9. Let me show you what I'm talking about with this cube down here. And it doesn't matter where you put your arrow from. This time, let's just put our arrow as if it's coming from here. So my arrow is coming from here. And that means that this front side would be my lightest side. So I'm going to put an L for light. It would hit this top, and that would be my medium. And the last thing that light would hit would be this side, and that would be my dark side. So using the longer side of my pencil, that edge right there, I'm going to turn that towards my paper. And again, I'm keeping my pencil parallel kind of with my paper, very flat. And I'm going to use that edge of my pencil to lightly get in a shade that is going to be somewhere between a 1 and a 3. So very lightly, I'm going to get a little tone in there. I'm not leaving it white. I'm actually getting some tone in there because if you leave it white, this cube will not pop out of the paper. Remember, any white on white is not going to pop. So even just having a little bit of color in there is going to make that cube start to pop out of the paper and look like it's starting to become three-dimensional. Next thing I want to do is get to my medium side, and I'm going to try to shade in here medium. But if I keep my medium really light, then this doesn't really look like an edge. I don't really have a corner where they both look the same. But let's see what's going to happen as I darken up that medium a little bit. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get a little darker. And you'll start to see how that corner is going to start to pop and look like an edge. So see how that's starting to look like a corner, whereas that and that look the same, and that looks flat. So again, I'm going to continue doing that along that edge so that we have a nice medium tone in on your other side. And we already are starting to make this look like that there's a turn here, and this is the side of my cube. And I'm going to come into the dark side, and the same thing. If I come into my dark side and my medium side are too similar, or my dark side and my light side are too similar, this cube is not going to look that three-dimensional. It's going to look still kind of flat. But watch what happens when I get in and I really darken up this dark side. So let me get in on this edge, and I'm really going to try to get like an 8 or a 9 on the edge of that cube so that it really gets dark. And you'll start to see how this is really starting to look like a corner now here. And it really pops away from the other edge, the other side. And I'm going to come in. So using the edge inside of my pencil. And then if you have a little area that you can't get to because it's too much in a corner or along the edge of the side, then you can use that pencil tip if you need to get in there and get that pigment as dark as you want it to be. So maybe I'll come into this edge right here, and especially this little corner right here, so I make sure that I get that. And now you can see how these 3 sides really pop away from each other, and it makes your cube really pop off the page. Again, you want a light side, a medium side, a dark side. You want to be thinking about the light and the directions going in. Have fun, get it done. I want